All right, guys, welcome back to another video, and we have some exciting stuff to talk about here on the Arcade1Up Infinity game table. We finally have the feature we've all been waiting for, which is open lobbies for internet-connected play. Really excited to talk about that. We have a few games that we want to talk about that released recently on the Infinity game table, so let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming tech is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start with the games that released here recently that we haven't talked about since the last video I did. We have a few of them here. So we have Spot the Difference right here. Spot the Difference is a game that we have talked about here in the past, but this is the Fantasy Edition. So we'll just go through and show you guys real quick what the Fantasy Edition is all about. Obviously, it's obviously themed as the Fantasy Edition, but essentially Spot the Differences. You get two pictures and you have to figure out what the differences are between those pictures. And what's cool about this one is that, you know, obviously just like their other one, you can actually play two players as well. As you can see here, we'll do the two-player format so you can see each player gets a picture and you have to go ahead and tap all the differences that you see in the actual pictures before the other person sees it. So let's see how we do here. If we can find something here that is different. I'm also really bad here. Here are the coins. So boom, I touched it first, so I would get that side of the points if I see that on my side before he sees it on the other. And then you're basically going back and forth trying to figure out what the differences are as you're looking through the clothing, and I'm doing a terrible job at finding another one, but I'm also looking behind a camera, so I'm going to use that as the excuse here. But I think you guys get the idea. You're looking at different pictures. Like I said, this is a game that has already existed, Spot the Difference, but this is the Fantasy Edition that they have on here. So now you have, you know, more pictures to go through and stuff like that. As you can see here, you can play with up to two players, which is fun, or you can, of course, play one player as well. The next game we're going to talk about here is DEF CON Cal. This one's actually really interesting. So you can see here, DEF CON Cal, so we're going to go ahead and hit start, and then you can go ahead and either do the tutorial, one player, or two player. So let's go ahead and do the tutorial so you guys can actually see exactly how this game works. It has a really good tutorial here, as you can see. And it says, welcome to DEF CON Cal. The goal of the game is to clear rows of bubbles in your opponent's shield so you can steal their trophies with their cow. So you can see the trophies here on the side. The idea is you want to steal their trophies from the other side and clear their rows so you can actually do it. It says, move your thrower by tapping on the row launch pad. So you can go ahead and, for example, click on this. Tap your thrower to throw, and then it will launch something on the other side. Double tap a launch pad to move and automatically throw. So you can see it's throwing things from the launch pad over here on this side to the other side here. Create a vertical, horizontal, or diagonal line of three or more of the same color to pop the bubbles. So it's like that same formula that a lot of us are used to here, where you're trying to pop the bubbles. There you go. They got a vertical one, so those bubbles are popped diagonally, as you guys saw. Now he pops the next one, and now that one's going. So you can see what's going on here. You're popping these bubbles diagonally to try and get to those trophies as fast as you can. So boom, he just cleared that row. When you clear a row and receive a cow, throw it to steal your opponent's trophy. So boom. Now you can see he gets to steal that trophy since there's nothing in that row. And now you're one step closer to winning. Steal all your opponent's trophies to win the match. Pro tip, rows without trophies are great places to toss unwanted Astros. So if there's no trophy on that side, it's a good place to just throw the ones that you don't want, that you don't think are going to help you, because you don't need to do anything with that row anymore. So let's go ahead and hit start here, give you guys a quick demonstration here. So if I was going to hit two players here, player one, choose your position. We're going to go ahead and hit here for both of them. Then you get to choose your planet, which is cool. You get to be animals or aliens or robots, whatever the case may be. You can select the difficulty. Then you can go ahead and hit launch. And this is how it starts. So we have a bunch of different rows here, of course, more than the tutorial. And you get to decide where you actually want to throw to go ahead and make your rows. So you can see the little alien that's coming up here. So if I launch that, I know what's going to come up next. And you're trying to do this as fast as possible. As you can see, I'm just doing it randomly so you guys can get the idea. But you're trying to do this as fast as possible. So this one obviously is going to clear. And you're trying to do it as fast as possible because there are no turns in the game. But you also want to make sure that you're actually putting it in the right slot so you don't actually mess up and, you know, have nowhere to go. So it's a really interesting game. It definitely requires a lot of strategy and a lot of speed, which I think is really fun. And you're not taking any turns and stuff like that. So it's a really unique twist on like the formula of the puzzle games where you're trying to do match 3 type games, but a very interesting way to actually play the game where you're going after the trophies and you're actually doing it in speed form when you're playing 2 players, which is interesting. You don't really see a lot of bubble games that require speed because your opponent's going to beat you, because most of these bubble match type games are usually playing against a computer, not against another opponent. So really interesting and fun game to play here. Definitely check this one out. And also something else to mention too is that each of these ones that you actually get to pick, the animals, alien monsters, and robots, they all have different abilities. So you can see the animals can choose from 2 different Astros. Astros change every 6 seconds. Can see the next 3 Astros if your monsters moves and throws the fastest. So the robots are always going to be throwing faster than your opponent, which is cool. And the last game we're going to talk about here today is this one here, Perulous Peaks. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this one is for 4 players, and this is basically a race where you're taking dice and trying to race to the top of the mountain here. So you guys will take a look here. I love some local multiplayer games. I love the art style on this one. Really nice looking game. So let's go ahead and start off with how to play. It is a pressure luck dice rolling game. So obviously you guys know about pressure luck. Players take turns rolling dice to advance their tokens up the mountain. The starting player is randomly chosen. Players take turns rolling the dice to advance their tokens up the columns on the board. The game ends once a player has reached the top of the 3 columns. On their turn, the players roll 4 dice. The rolled dice are split into sets of 2 dice. All possible combinations of the dice will be presented to the player. The combined total of each set represents a column on which the player may choose to advance a token to. Players may advance up to 3 tokens per turn. Players may not advance a token on a column which has been completed. Busting. In other words, you can't go anymore. A player busts when a dice roll results in no combinations on which the player may advance a token. When busting, the player loses all progress that they have made. So let's go ahead and just do 2 players here, just to show you guys. So you can see here, player 1, if you roll, it's going to use 2 combinations of each of the dice, and it presents you all the combinations here on the right, and you have to decide where you want to put your pieces. You can see you're starting at the bottom here using these numbers, so I can move on the 5 and the 6 if I want to, whatever the case may be, and my pieces will obviously go right there. And I can continue to press my luck and continue rolling. And you can see all the different combinations that I'll be able to move with my other piece here. So if I move this one on 12, now I can stop moving or I can press my luck. If I don't stop moving, I'm going to lose all the spots that I moved my pieces to, and I'm going to start all the way from the beginning again. If I continue rolling and press my luck even further, you're trying to make sure you can actually move your pieces somewhere. So luckily I was able to move, so I'm going to go ahead and move that to 5. I'm going to continue to press my luck so you guys can see what happens here. So you can see here, there's no possibilities here. I have nowhere to move to a 2 and nowhere to move here as well for my pieces. I could move on the 6 though. Again, I'm going to continue rolling, but you would probably want to stop at some point so you don't end up, moving out. Now you got 2 of them here with no possibilities because I have nowhere to move with those pieces. Luckily, I can move on this one. Again, I'm going to continue rolling and going crazy. Still going, moving on the 12. Moving on the 6. So I'm continuing to go up that mountain as player 1, continuing to push my luck. And somehow still managing to be alive right now. Still going. It's a good run right now. And I just busted with there being nothing. So you can see you get set all the way back to the bottom. Obviously not what you want to do. So you can see that you wouldn't really want to keep busting and going up the mountain. So I think this one is really cool. The fact that you can play with up to 4 players, and it's a dice game that is based on pressure luck, which is a very common board game mechanic that we haven't seen a lot of in the board game stuff that we've seen on the Infinity game table. This is definitely, even though it's a simple game, all you're doing is rolling the dice and pressing your luck. Obviously, it's a very simple pressure luck game. It definitely fits right at home with the Infinity game table, as we don't have a lot of games like this at all. And it's a very fun game to press your luck and go up this mountain and see who can get there before everyone else can with their 3 pieces. And the fact that it supports 4 players is fantastic. So another one that I would definitely add to my collection, another one that I would definitely bring out and play with other people. Now that covers the games that I want to talk about today, but we have a very important update to talk about here at the main menu. And if I go to the My Games tab, you guys will see it on the right-hand corner. It is finally the arrival of the game that we've all been waiting for, and that is the arrival of open lobby gameplay. So this is fantastic, and this is going to be great that I'll be able to show this to you guys perfectly because I have two tables. I have the 18-inch that I'm recording on right now, and then I have the big one downstairs. So I'll show you guys exactly how this works. But you can see right here next to your friends list, that's my friends list, the 8 players there that you can see. That's my friends list there with all the people that I have on there. I can go ahead and close that. But right next to that is a new tab that looks like an internet connected tab, and you can see that somebody 23 minutes ago had a chess game opened. But basically, any game that anybody is playing that is online connected and is looking for players is going to show up on this list in the game lobby so you can easily join them. And we're going to see exactly how that works right now. Now, what I do want to mention real quick, if you guys see what this picture looks like here, this is a error message, not an error, but an infinite loading screen when I first installed the update that you see. If you guys first install this update on your Infinity game table and you see this logo that's just spinning when you click on the game lobby, just reboot your device and it will not do that anymore. It seems like it's a one-time thing when the update gets first installed and it doesn't actually connect to the lobby system, but as soon as you reboot, it does from there on out. So something to keep in mind that people were asking about. But I'm going to show you guys exactly how this works. So there's a lot of games now that have internet connected play, right? So we're not going to do chess because that one's already on the board here, so you guys can see a different one. But if I go ahead and open another game that has internet connected play here. So we're going to go ahead here and start with checkers, as you can see. And usually you would see this connect icon. This is nothing new. This has always been here before, but usually you would have to have people on your friends list before. You weren't able to invite people randomly or you know, have people randomly join you that are playing the table. So a lot of us didn't play online games because of that fact. But now you can, and it's a lot easier to play with your friends. So basically you go to the connect option right here, right? And you will see this that has always popped up before, but now you have a new option at the bottom here, which is guest. So instead of inviting your friends like you usually do, which is great if you have friends you want to play with on your friends list, but if you just want to open it up to everybody in the world who has an Infinity game table, this is a 2-player game. So I can just go ahead and hit guest, and then I go ahead and hit invite players, and it will basically put you in the open lobby, and you can see here waiting for other players to join on the system there. So I'm going to go ahead now and take you downstairs to my other table to show you what's happening when someone else joins. All right, so you can see now we're on the big table here that I usually have, and you can see, again, we have the open lobby there in the corner. Now, if I hit it right now, you will see that my game is sitting there, the chess game that I started 1 minute ago, and now I can actually join that and see that everyone else in the world can see that too. But I'm going to go ahead and click it first. You can see who's actually playing that game, which is cool. You can see it's my name there, and you can see how many players they're waiting for, which is 1 out of 2, of course. And it's great. You can go ahead and click on it. And now theoretically on the screen, you'll see that I would have joined, and click on the guest, and it says the host will start the game when the required players arrive. Now, the reason that this can't work for me right now, and you guys are staring at this screen, and the host isn't able to start the game, is because I'm using the same account on both of these tables, unfortunately, because obviously I wanted to be able to download the same games that I have on my account on both. So you can see I'm signed into your gaming tech on both tables, which lets me play the games on both tables without having to repurchase them, which is great. But unfortunately, that means that like you can't join each other's online game because it's the same account trying to join an online game, which obviously wouldn't work. So that ain't going to go anywhere. But you can kind of see how it would work if you know, were using an actual proper account, how that would work. The rest of the online gameplay is obviously the same. There's nothing different about it. The way that you've played online games before, as soon as you hit that join button, would be the same. You're going back and forth playing the game online. So that hasn't changed if you've played with friends before. It's the fact that we now have an open lobby system here, which is fantastic to show all the games that everyone may be playing. It even tells you how long ago they started, and you can actually see who's in there and how many players they're waiting for, and actually join, and the host can start the game. So really, really great addition to the Infinity game table, something that they've been asking, or all of us have been asking about since day one. To be able to have an open lobby system, because now you can go into any game. You don't have to go into a game to see if anybody's online to play, or you don't have to rely on your friends list. Now you can just turn on the Infinity game table, click on this open lobby system, and see if anyone started anything. I'm doing this video really early, so there's not a lot of games obviously being played right now, but it's still really cool that this finally got added to the Infinity game table, something I definitely wanted, and will definitely help a lot of players play online now that they can play with randoms, which is really cool. And the way that they implemented it, I think, is done easy for everyone to kind of get into it, and really easy to understand, but also done in a very, you know, simplistic way that works well. So really, really glad to have this as part of the Infinity game table. Hopefully this is something that a lot of you guys have been waiting for, and now you can go ahead and dive into. And there's a lot of games that keep getting online gameplay as well. So you can see, if you click on connected play here, which is one of the categories, you can see all of the games that now have connected play right here. So you can see you got Batman, Backgammon, Battleship, Candyland, Checkers, Chess, the other chess versions, Shoots and Ladders, Clue, Connect 4, Word Crossy, Sorry, Scrabble, Rummy, Risk recently got updated. Oh no, Monopoly, both versions, Harry Potter, Wizard Chess, Guess Who, Game of Life, Dots and Boxes, Dominoes, Trouble, and Yahtzee. So hopefully they continue to give us some of these. So hopefully they continue to give us these online updates for other games that they make. But really solid stuff from Arcade1Up. They do say that they have a lot more games coming up and that they have some really good board games coming up as well that I'm excited to, check out when they actually arrive. The couple of ones that we talked about today are great additions to the table, in my opinion. Even if they're not like full licensed board games, they do fit well in the system, and they are fun games to play with other people, and they're great additions, and I can't wait to see what they come out with next for the Infinity Game Table. If you guys have any questions, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.